thyself is to love thyself, is to examine, observe, and respect thyself. It's an ongoing process, never to be explained in a brief synopsis. It's a preoccupation with reflection and revelation that can only be achieved through discipline and determination.
Hello and welcome to the Encouraging Word Show. I am your host, Jamila Freelain, and I appreciate you tuning in each and every Thursday. Let me tell you, today's show is no disappointment. It's going to be just as exciting as the others. Now, what I'm going to do for today is to touch a little bit on, basically do some reflection, number one. And then two, I have some very exciting guests from an all-natural beauty pageant, which encompasses both a mentoring program and a pageant component together, and it's really a great program for young ladies to learn more about becoming a woman and being responsible and that sort of thing. It's going to be an exciting show, so make sure you stay tuned. Now again, for those of you who are just tuning in for the very first time, make sure that you are familiar with what the show is about. And the show was really inspired by a book that I wrote called Free Money for College, and it's filled with tips, strategies, and resources to help students and parents really better understand how to be more strategic and intentional in their college plan or even their career plan. Definitely it helps to be strategic and intentional because that can save you some time and money, and I'm all about saving time and money. College costs are no joke, so if you can cut costs here and a little bit there, it makes a world of difference and frees you up, gives you a better quality of life, all of the above. So you want to check it out if those are some things or some aims or some goals that you have. And the book is really meant for students to start as early as 6th grade, so students and parents definitely be mindful of the book available. Now, the first reflection or thing that I want to talk about today is reflecting on a vacation slash benefit trip slash, I don't know, it's a lot of things rolled into one. So I'm going to title this segment Giving Back. And really the purpose of talking about giving back is because when it comes to each generation, of course, each generation, one of the responsibilities and obligations that we have is to make things better for the generation that comes after us. We all know that we're here not due to our own goodness, obviously the goodness and the grace of God, but we're also standing on the shoulders of those who've come before us, and they've paved the way. They made some sacrifices. There are some things that we take for granted that they really had to fight and scratch and kick and scream and knock down doors for. So that being said, one of the things that I really am mindful about, particularly in this area of North Carolina where there are so many historically black colleges and universities, I'm really strong and feel very strongly about students giving back, whether you graduated from an HBCU or not. Here's the thing. I mentioned I'm going to reflect on a recent trip I took. I was honored to this year go on the Tom Joyner Fantastic Voyage, and I was so excited about it because it was something that I kind of had sort of on a bucket list, so to speak, and it was nothing short of outstanding. Now, for those of you not familiar or that have been under a rock the last 20 years, what that is a benefit cruise where they have a series of different entertainers from old school to new school to in-between school. Everybody under the sun is on this boat. And it's really a pretty cool urban experience, if you will. They're doing the Soul Train line on the Lido deck, you know, all kind of crazy stuff. But more importantly than all the fun that you have is the purpose for which it's set up. The whole purpose of that particular trip or that particular cruise is because the proceeds from that cruise go to HBCUs, or better yet, go to scholarships for students that are attending HBCUs. So giving back and partying with a purpose is really kind of the ultimate goal and vision of this trip. So to that end, it was interesting to me because I ran into a young lady that I kind of had a few things in common with, and after the cruise we kind of reflected on some thoughts that we had as we've encountered different HBCU grads in our lives. And the reason it was interesting is because neither one of us attended or graduated from HBCUs, but we had some of the same thoughts. One of the thoughts was that no matter what, we've got to value the importance of these institutions for the generations to come. So we've got to financially contribute and that sort of thing. And we felt even more compelled, I would say, in some ways than some people who graduated from these institutions. So it was kind of interesting in that regard. And so what I want to touch on, and I'm probably going to sound like I'm preaching for a minute, but I want to talk about the difference between support versus school spirit. So here it goes. When we talk about school spirit is those people that I meet all the time. They can't wait to tell you about the time and the parties they had at XYZ University, whether it was maybe A&T or Winston-Salem State, and I'm shouting out those schools because I think the world of these institutions. But Shaw, Central, there's some really great schools just in North Carolina alone that are historically black colleges and universities. So you meet these people and they're just like so enthused and so encouraged to tell you about their school. And they maybe show up to every homecoming or every battle of the bands event, and they're just really having a good old time. Maybe they're traveling from near and far. Maybe they're traveling from several states away. They're spending money on everything from hotels to drinks to new outfits so they can make sure they look fly for the different events that are taking place. Guess what? That's school spirit too. Nothing wrong with that. Last thing is, you know, a lot of times they wear the school gear. They may have the name of their school very prominently displayed on their sweatshirts or their, you know, their just some article of their clothing. Nothing wrong with any of those things. If you have your school's name prominently displayed on your clothing, that's kind of giving free marketing and promotion to the school. Of course, if you're showing up to games or the homecoming events, that's showing some love and letting those students that are maybe current students know that you really value what that school has to offer. And then lastly, if you're talking about that school oftentimes, then that lets people know that, hey, you're proud of your school. But here's the distinction. Those things are fine and well, but it doesn't keep the lights on at those institutions, being, you know, just real, keeping it 100. So school spirit is a great thing. School support is a better thing. Now let's talk about school support and the difference. So school support, that's going to be in the sense of if you're maybe not in a position right now to offer, you know, a financial donation or contribution to your college or university, keep in mind that you can always encourage students. If you're encouraging people and letting people know what your experience was like at that particular school, that actually helps to cultivate a legacy for the school, because 9 times out of 10, when we're looking at colleges and universities, a lot of times we like testimonials. We like testimonials when we're talking about a laundromat, much less a college or a university. So if you're able to speak to some young people and explain to them and express to them how you were nurtured and how you were cultivated and how you grew and gained your independence and knowledge and really became a better person as a result of attending this school, that's where the rubber hits the road and makes a difference. Because 9 times out of 10, if that student is looking for maybe an HBCU or looking for a school that fits that mold that you're speaking about, then guess what? You've just gained them. You've earned them a student. And what a wonderful way to contribute. Another way that you can contribute or support your school in a stronger way is to provide job opportunities. Let's be honest and let's be very clear, because I've met some folk that will tell you the difference that those HBCUs made in their lives. Let's face it, some people were C's and at best sometimes D students, but because they attended a school that was maybe able to nurture who they were and better able to maybe meet their needs and to cultivate who they were as a person and to take them to the next level, to think higher and aspire to become more and achieve more. As a result of that, they were able to now live a life or a quality of life they never even dreamed of, because that school provided that opportunity. Well, guess what? Just like somebody provided that opportunity for you, you should feel moved to provide that opportunity to someone that comes behind you. So if you have job opportunities, whether it's apprenticeships or internships or full-time job opportunities at your particular place of employment now, or better yet, if you're a business owner and you're in a position where you can hire or take on some young graduates to work for your particular place of business, that is tremendous. That definitely is worth its weight in gold. So just be mindful of that. You want to make sure that you support in meaningful and very distinct ways that help to build the legacy, not just show school spirit, although, you know, school spirit is what's up as well. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of contributing and supporting your schools is to donate money. At the end of the day, we all, have bought mugs and maybe keychains and, I don't know, pencil holders, whatever the paraphernalia was at the bookstore at that time. And at the end of the day, that's all fine and well. But keep in mind, if you buy a $60 sweatshirt, that's great. But there's some overhead that comes with that. They've got to pay for the employees for that store. They got to keep the lights on. They got to pay for the shelving that goes in the store. They got to pay taxes on the income that came and was generated from that. At the end of the day, that $60 sweatshirt may only yield maybe a $25 profit for that particular institution. And it may not go back directly to that institution in a number of ways. But if you donate or contribute directly to that school's foundation, or if they have an endowment or what have you, then you can be rest assured that that money is going straight to the source of where you want it to go. It's about sustaining a legacy. I know for a fact that some of the shirts and some of the things that I have, every college campus I go to, I have to pick up something, I'm telling you. But at the end of the day, as cute as I may think I look in that sweatshirt, nothing speaks volumes and nothing contributes more to that school than me making a direct donation. So just a food for thought. The next time you're planning on homecoming or planning on maybe returning to your school, for that money that you spend on meals and entertaining and hotels, just make sure that you remember to also budget out or to set aside some money to go to the school as well, because they don't see that money necessarily from the hotels and from the clothing stores and that sort of thing, but every check that you see and they definitely see as a result. So just make sure that you keep in mind that we want to support our institutions, we want to continue our legacy, we want to do everything that we can do to keep these institutions open for generations to come. And I thank you for lending me your ear. Again, stay tuned, because in the next segment it's going to be even more exciting. Thanks for watching. And we are back. I am so glad you stayed tuned. I'm so glad you're watching. And as I mentioned, I have a really exciting guest with me today. Actually, I have two for the price of one. I have two amazing guests, and they're here to talk about the Miss All Natural Teen 2017 pageant. Now, to backtrack, that particular pageant is unique because the pageant is just the culmination. It's really the finale and kind of like the cherry on the top to an amazing, outstanding, tremendous girls mentoring program that takes place right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, we have with us today the winner of last year's pageant, and her name is Miss Raven Taylor. Hey, how you doing, Raven? Let's say hi to the people.
Hi, guys.
Okay. Now, Raven, tell us, let's jump right in. When you looked at this particular program, what was it that appealed to you? Because, a 12-week class, that's like a semester worth of classes. So what was it that appealed to you about these classes and then the pageant afterwards?
What initially got me interested was my aunt. She's like a real naturalista. That's what I call it.
Okay.
And she's the
and
one
when you
who
say naturalista, you're speaking of hair.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And she's the one who inspired me to go natural.
Okay.
So she told me that she knew of a Miss All Natural pageant because she works at CPCC, and Miss Vernisha's really acquainted with CPCC. So I said, why not? I was in the beginning stages of being natural, and I said, this is probably what I need to do to just dive right in.
Okay, and you have a beautiful crown of hair.
Thank you.
You really do. It's wonderful. It's like that. Okay. So great. So your aunt kind of told you a little bit more about this wonderful opportunity. Now tell me a little bit more about the classes. Ultimately, it looks like you won the pageant, but what was it that was so enriching about this experience for you?
Well, for starters, there was tons of collaboration with other Black owners and hairstylists and just great Black people that, we never really get to see that much, but this whole program just allowed me to become more acquainted with the Black community in Charlotte, know that there are Black businesses, there are Black hair care brands that we could try. It opened me up, and we did etiquette classes.
What did you do in your etiquette classes?
Well, I wasn't there.
Oh, you missed that day. I'm telling you.
Yeah. But I saw some pictures.
Okay. So tell me what you think they learned or what
how to, be professional and be classy while eating. They looked good in the picture, so I was...
What was your favorite class?
That's hard. Let me see. My favorite class. I don't know if I can I talk to her? Does the, whenever we went to, it was the day of the pageant, and I can't remember what it was.
And so many good experiences. It's hard to try to capture them all in one experience at one time. Okay, well, great. Now, with the pageant portion of the classes, that was an exciting opportunity, and I, saw you guys looking radiant. And I think what was most remarkable to me is you all came out looking all glamorous and fierce, and had your wonderful gowns on, and you were looking so radiant that you didn't miss the makeup and the normal frills that you would see at a traditional pageant. You guys were just glowing with your inner beauty. So I think that's what was most remarkable.
Yes, ma'am.
How did that night feel for you?
I was very nervous, like 10 times more nervous than I am right now. And I don't know. I mean, I had like a group of amazing girls among me, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, compete with them, because everybody's just so different, and everybody's just so remarkable in their own way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. At that point, the whole winning thing just kind of slipped my mind. It was more of like a sisterhood, and us all being together for the last time was kind of sad. I mean,
kind of a bittersweet experience.
Yeah.
You got to bond with these young ladies for 12 weeks. You all were like sisters, really. Yes. It was your own little personal cohort. And was everybody from the same school, or was everybody from different schools?
Everyone was from different schools. We had people from West Mac, Harding. I was from Vance. Okay. And 2 girls were from Gastonia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Butler. It was a good mix.
So a really good cross-section, a good variety of people. Okay, great. What do you think was let's say, obviously I think probably the icing on the cake was winning, but what has been probably the most exciting part of your reign as the first queen of this? This is an inaugural thing, but this is something that will be continuing. So what has been most memorable with you serving as a queen?
I love the fact that I get to get hairstyles from a hairstylist named Robin. She's really nice and just an amazing person. And I've been trying to volunteer more. I feel like me being a queen has opened me up to more community service than I would do if I wasn't. So
it helped you to become more civic-minded. You became more engaged. Okay, so that's definitely something. That's actually something we talked about a little bit in the first segment, is giving back. Okay. What has been then your platform? You said you have become more into, I can't think of the word now, but doing civic activities. So what have you given back with? What has been your area?
My area, my platform was drug abuse. Okay. And trying to prevent it in the teen community. Unfortunately, I haven't done anything pertaining to drug abuse specifically, but I've been in many clubs, Key Club and National Honor Society and my student council. We all focus on giving back to people, not necessarily drug abuse related, but definitely people in need.
Right. Yeah. And you just brought back some memories. I was in Key Club. Yeah, many moons ago. Well, great. Well, before we wrap up, is there one word that you can think of that best describes you or that encourages you? And actually, it could be a word or a phrase that encourages you. And that may inspire the community as well.
Well, my word would be bold. And I have a phrase to go along with it. My dad was like a big Dr. Seuss fan. He was just totally obsessed, and he said one time, why fit in when you were born to stand out? And I always live by that every day. Just be bold in the right way.
Okay. Well, I definitely would say no truer words are spoken. You are a champion, and we definitely look for big things from you in the future, and we thank you. And of course, you're going to be a mentor for this year's program coming up this summer, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can't wait to see you in action. Thanks
you.
for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be back. Stay tuned. We will have the founder of this wonderful mentoring program on in just a minute. And we are back, and just as promised, I have somebody so exciting to tell you guys about today. Her name is Miss Vernisha Crawford. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, and welcome to the Encouraging Word Show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
And we're excited to have you. So now, the reason I'm so excited to talk to you guys about what she does is because she has this incredible program that I was telling you guys about in the last segment. Of course, you guys know I'm all down for girls empowerment and different programs that really help to instill the essentials of womanhood and being a responsible young lady. In this day and age, there's so many different distractions and forces that can take us in many different negative directions. And so with a program like yours, I'm telling you, I think the world of you, and I think you have a tremendous offering, and I just can't wait to see it expand even more.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So with that being said, tell us all about how you got started with this all-natural teen pageant.
Yeah, so I've done a few pageants before. I did a few pageants in
As
high
a
school.
contestant, or you?
As a contestant, competed in a couple of pageants in high school, and then I competed in a few in college.
Oh,
in
wow.
college is where I got a lot of experience, where I kind of graduated from a contestant to a pageant coach. And that's when I really fell in love with teaching, you know, other women or younger women how to be better women. At the time, though, the pageants didn't have as much substance that the one that I created has. It was more so...
I would agree.
Yeah, you know, it was just a pageant, you know,
Right.
to win some scholarship money. And, you know, pageants, there is a lot that goes into pageants. You know, these young ladies have to have, you know, academics or good academics. They have to be well-rounded in the community and active in the community.
Right.
They have to have public speaking skills, you know, and show up to events and things of that nature. So
Right.
pageants in general, they do have a lot packed into them. But what led me to create this pageant is to really develop a program that's attached to the pageant. So
Right.
in pageantry, most times young ladies, they never meet each other till the day that they're
The day
competing.
of the event. Really?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So ours, we have taken it, made a summer program out
Yeah,
of it.
you're taking it to the next level, in my opinion.
Yeah. So it was really based around, you know, 3 principles.
Okay.
The first is self-love. So we wanted to teach these ladies self-love. And the way we chose to do that is to remove anything external. So we really wanted them to redirect their focus from external pressures and apply that energy to interpersonal development.
So self-love is the first principle you said?
Self-love is
And
the
you know,
first
I would say
principle.
that was reflected in each one of the contestants that I met. So,
Yeah.
and that's very important. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So the second.
The second principle was collaboration.
Okay.
And so that was a really big part of the summer program. So we wanted these young ladies to understand how it felt to work together. There is this stigma in the Black community that, you know, African American females, we compete. You know, we can't get along. And so we wanted these young ladies
to
to
break down
learn
that.
how to collaborate, to feel to know what it feels like to collaborate, and to see the results of when you collaborate.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the third principle we had was support. So that's another big thing. You know, we may not, sometimes we don't receive support from the people that we wish to receive support from. That could be from a parent for, you know, these young ladies. It could be a friend. It could be a mentor or a teacher. You know, and we wanted them to know that they had the entire community supporting them.
Right.
And so we focused on those 3 principles throughout the 12 weeks in hopes to create a sisterhood, you know, with these young ladies, and, you know, a bonding, you know, experience between the young girls and the volunteers and everyone else that was, you know, involved in the program.
Yeah, great, great. Well, I think all of those 3 principles are key. Definitely, I would say I saw each one of those reflected in the girls in the program as well. You mentioned the collaboration piece. Raven spoke in the earlier segment about it feeling like a sisterhood. that sort of thing. And then support. It's interesting that that was your choice of words, because in the first segment for today, we talked about support. We talked about support as it related to colleges and that sort of thing, but certainly just supporting one another in the community is a key ingredient as well. So now, tell me about some of these photos that we're seeing, because again, this is a 12-week program, ladies and gentlemen, that goes in front of the pageant. So the pageant is just, again, that's the icing on the cake, that's the grand finale. But there are 12 weeks of work and effort and quality training and grooming that go into place. So with the mirror, that one in the back, in this photo that they're seeing on the screen, tell me, do you remember what class that was?
Yeah, that class, we were actually practicing our opening number.
Okay, so that choreographed piece.
The choreography, yes. And I think so. What we tried to do throughout each class was half of the class would be geared toward a topic, whether that was resume building or interviewing skills, or it could have been public speaking. The first half of the class was always dedicated to a specific topic, and then the second half was dedicated to the actual pageant. So learning the walks and the choreography and the moves and all that good stuff. So that in that class we had just finished talking about fundraising and how to fundraise and different ideas of what the girls could do together to fundraise, because we wanted to instill in them good qualities and characteristics of how to give back to the community.
And did they all sell the same thing, or did they sell something?
So they were able to do whatever they wanted to do as long as they did it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now we're going to run short on time, so really quickly, if you could tell me one word or one phrase maybe that is empowering and encouraging to you, what would it be?
Gosh, you prepped me for this, and I'm still I'm going back and forth with what I want to say, but I would say one word. I'm going to go with what I do on a day-to-day basis, and that one word is to breathe. Okay. I just feel like, there's so many times where we're stressed out and things are going crazy, and I feel like if it was just to stop and take a big, deep breath, get clarity and free your brain, I feel like you would be able to make the right decision afterwards.
Okay, so there you have it. Yes. Words to live by, and of course we need breath to to live. Last couple of things I want to make you aware of course, with this wonderful program and all that you're doing. Not only are you helping to enhance the community, but things like this, when you have girls empowerment, it can, reduce things like teen dating violence. Maybe teen pregnancy, because these girls have a stronger sense of worth and know their value. And then lastly, it can help down the road with their employment and that sort of thing, and demanding, equal pay, that sort of thing. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited for this show to air. I can't tell you how proud of you I am, and I wish you much success to come.
Thanks
for watching, and we appreciate Vernisha Crawford taking her time today to come in.